We're here at the IAS in Amsterdam with past President Pedro Cahn from Huésped in Argentina, and we really appreciate you taking the time to talk about what you brought to the conference, the work that you're doing. And we've talked to you over the years about a lot of prevention issues in a very powerful and strong and advocacy way. But today let's talk about your treatment.
Okay, yes, I had two main issues to do here in this conference. One was I presented the results of the Gemini trial. Gemini trial is a trial that explores the strategy of dual therapy, dolutegravir plus 3TC, compared to the classic triple therapy, dolutegravir plus tenofovir and FTC. And guess what? We were able to show non-inferiority in a very large 400 and so people that participated in the Gemini 1 and Gemini 2. Non-inferiority was shown at all levels of viral load, that means below and above 100,000 copies, so potency is not affected by high viral load. And the good thing is that we only saw 6 confirmed virological withdrawals, and in none of them resistance was found, neither to 3TC nor to nucleosides. I'm sorry, neither to 3TC nor to integrase inhibitors. So we are very pleased with the results, and I think this adds a new option for patients. I need to be clear, this is not for everybody, because to be included in our study you needed to have less than 500,000 copies at baseline, and also you need to be HBV negative, hepatitis B negative, because 3TC, as you know, is a drug that is active against hepatitis B, but very quickly selects resistance. So you shouldn't use a dual therapy strategy including 3TC if you are a hepatitis B co-infected.
So I know that it's what you researched is 500,000 copies, but do you think that's the number you would stick with? Or, I mean, based upon the science, that's what it is. But.
Well, let me tell you that we had patients that at screening had less than 500,000 copies, but at baseline they had more than 500,000 and they were kept on study. They were 2%, but guess what? They did well. So I think that future research could help us to provide the evidence that you can safely use it in patients with higher viral load.
Or you can knock the viral load down first and then get into it.
Some people would prefer to start with triple therapy and after a couple of months go down to 2 drugs. Could be a good strategy as well.
So what's the next step in this work? Is it more confirmatory, or you feel you're there?
No, the next step is to prove that this is only not a 1-minute issue. So we will follow the patients in a randomized double-blind control manner until week 144, in order to show that this is good, but also is durable.
Right. What else at the conference that you're seeing set some interest in your?
Well, I can tell you in the treatment field, we saw I think the last papers that we will see ever about dolutegravir monotherapy, which really doesn't look good, and I think it's from now on it should be very debatable if it's still ethical to continue exploring dolutegravir monotherapy, because with the exception of one paper that was done in a very particular population, very early treated patients with a strong follow-up every month, etc., etc. So it's 2 interventions. Dolutegravir monotherapy was on top of a very close follow-up. With that exception that showed non-inferiority, all the others showed that the dolutegravir monotherapy was inferior and selected for a lot of resistant mutations. So I think this is the end. The other issues that we saw, some interesting paper from François Venter in South Africa, showing that if you use in patients that are already suppressed and you want to switch them, you can use darunavir 400 milligrams, 100 milligrams ritonavir once a day. So instead of using 600 milligrams twice a day, you can, or 800 milligrams once a day. Once the patient is already undetectable, you can use half of a dose. And why would you do that? In order to save money in a country that is planning to put more than 6 million people on treatment.
I was just talking to UNAIDS, and they're doing just that. They're trying to find a way to economize on the expenses.
Sure, because unfortunately, the world is putting money in other priorities and is somewhere restricting the budgets. No?
How is the things going down in Argentina? Your access to treatment for everybody, or
Access to treatment is preserved in a very constrained fiscal environment. We have a government that, as you may know, some governments relieve taxes from the rich people and put taxes on the poor people. I know.
I have a personal feeling on.
I think you know the story. Well, we have the same issue there, but I think that no government is stupid enough to cut the funds for AIDS, because people will be on the streets in 24 hours.
It's important. We really have to find a way to mobilize, and I think people do that, because it's terrible what's going on in a lot of countries today. It's just not, and we have to fight to keep what we have, and then to lose things is terrible. Then criminalization, of course, is another one.
Of course.
Well, is a big issue at this conference.
There is an important document that I am one of the authors that provides the biological basis for lawyers and patients and community workers, etc., the biological basis to show that criminalization is not only bad from the human rights point of view. Mm-hmm. It's not a matter that criminalizing is bad from human rights.
Right.
It's also stupid from the biological point of view. Because now, in the era in which undetectable means untransmittable, criminalizing somebody because he or she is HIV positive is completely nonsense, again, from a biological point of view.
And it's going to be contrary to the success of treatment. It's
Sure.
Yeah.
So the aim of that paper was not to provide human rights or legal arguments, but biological arguments to counteract any attempt of criminalizing people living with HIV.
Well, we appreciate you, number one, for the science you do, but we also appreciate you for the social interactions and the advocacy and the activism that you do. Because, I think all doctors that are in HIV are activists. If they aren't, they become, I think...
Well, you couldn't understand the epidemic, and I always say that. There will never be an end to the epidemic without doctors. Mm-hmm. But if you if you feel that doctors will end the epidemic by their own, they are completely wrong. Mm-hmm. We need the community, we need the social scientists, we need the politicians, we need everything. Everybody should be involved in order to put this epidemic to rest.
Right. And we have to keeping on the fight, for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Pedro. I appreciate it.